Welcome to Agency Ascend, the podcast where we explore the independent insurance world, growth strategies, and ways to succeed in the agency channel. I'm Chad Brummett, COO here at Comerica Agency Alliance, and I'll be your moderator today. Joining with me today, as always, is Mr. Chris Sterlacci, our managing partner, Jessica McBurney, our regional vice president.
Hello.
And today we have a special guest with us, Mr. David Allen. He's the lead training specialist at Insurance Centers of America, or ICA. David spent many years training agents on how to succeed both in personal and commercial lines, and we're pleased to have him on board with us today. Welcome, David.
Thank you so much, Chad. Glad to be here.
And one distinction I did want to make too is that David specifically works with ICA education. So he is the lead training specialist and helps people from training 101 to what is the highest class? I mean, does it go, in my brain, it's like 501, but you go across all of the spectrum when it comes to training and support on that.
Yeah, we go all the way from not even 101. We go down to like 89 or 90.
That's good.
Those prerequisite classes. So with the pre-licensing classes, and we actually even have what we call our master's level classes as well, that are much more in-depth dives into complex situations with particular niche markets as well. So everywhere in between.
All right. So what we're hearing is, even if I don't know how to spell insurance, you're going to spot me the eye, and you're going to help me figure out how to actually get into insurance. So is it literally that fundamental? I don't have a license. I don't know anything. I can come to ICA and get some of those foundational training?
Well, Chad, I'll put it to you this way. I have an agent right now who doesn't even have his license yet, sitting in my comprehensive commercial lines class. And he's not even licensed yet. And it's a conversation we have every week. So are we taking the test this week? Well, I've got a few things that came up, so hopefully next week, right? So he's learning it, all the way to people that have had their masters in insurance, to CPCUs and CICs, and everybody in between.
Oh,
wow.
Man.
That's incredible.
So here, maybe we might have put the cart in front of the horse here. Let's take a step back just a little bit. Tell us just what's your background, what's a little bit about the ICA and the training programs, and just kind of like what's that, 60,000.
How did we get here, right?
Yeah.
So, I'll start with ICA education first. Now, Insurance Centers of America is a master agency within the SIA model. But back in 2014, the education department was formed to provide an added benefit and opportunity to help our agents within our master agency to be able to write more, do more, learn more, provided an added benefit. And then over the years, it continued to grow and develop. And then probably in the last 4 years or so, it's continued to grow to where other master agencies and growth coaches have kind of heard, well, hey, this is what our people did. Hey, can we get in on that too? And sure. So we'd help another master agency and then extend out to another master agency. And now we work with many master agencies across the entire country. And I mean it very sincerely when I say I've had agents from as far as Alaska to Miami and from Maine to San Diego and everywhere in between. So cool. We cover, pretty much the entire United States.
And just so our listeners who are maybe not familiar with the SIA model, what we have is regional hubs. And so ICA, looking to serve their members, found that y'all basically stumbled on a niche need and then expanded upon that to basically help your agents write better business, whether it's producer training, whether it's CSR training, and really dig into that, and which is why y'all have been so successful in growing it across the country.
I would agree with you wholeheartedly, Chris. And I think we could all agree, and the listeners alike would agree, that insurance education for the most part is boring. It's
Amen.
It's like the defensive driving class for, not the comedy one. It's the it's the other ones.
It's the other ones, right? It's a recording that you click on and you just kind of click through to how fast I can get to the test, right? So the thing that really has set us apart is all of our courses are live. We come to the agents wherever they are via Zoom, kind of like we're talking today. Our class sizes are small, typically 5 or less in a class. And the bad jokes come at no extra cost. So, and it's our effort and it's our main mission to just try and bring entertainment, to bring, a great time, to bring great conversations, as opposed to, I'm just going to sit here and click a start button and wait for an hour till it's over. All of our classes are live. They're on camera. They're engaging. And, that's really what has set us apart and contributed to our growth and success. And even more importantly, I think, besides all that, is it's real world experience.
Yeah.
I think the biggest thing that people find when they sit through your traditional insurance education is it's book knowledge.
It's an academic. It's just somebody who's not had that experience.
Exactly.
Stuffy.
It's just, it's book knowledge. It's kind of like when you take the insurance exam. It teaches you insurance, but then you got to go leave there and learn the actual world of insurance, right?
Yeah. What's the practical application to actually writing the policy in the field with the questions that the consumer is going to ask versus the questions that the actuary is going to ask?
Well, and I've heard stories. I've heard stories in the past with even our founder, my dad, when he was going in for his CIC designation, and he failed small agency management. And the professor,
really?
Oh yeah, he
That's
failed
hilarious.
it. And the professor was sitting there going like, Mike, you're thinking like a big agency owner. And he goes, what do you mean? He says, you need to take the other class. He says, you will pass that with flying colors. It's like, wait, there's differences? Wait, what do you mean?
Yep, there's a big difference. So
yeah.
Anyway, so that's kind of how ICA education has gotten to where it is today, and how.
So how did you get involved in really starting that?
Well, I didn't have anything to do with starting it. My whole thing is just trying to keep the ball rolling down the hill and bring whatever it is that I can bring, including, like I said, the bad jokes accordingly. So how did I get here? Is I started with my first life and health license when I was 18 years old, working in my stepfather's agency. Never forget that summer. He said, get your coat. We're going on an errand. Pulled up to a house, handed me an envelope, said, you're going to go deliver this death claim check. Really?
Oh my gosh.
So here I am.
It's trial by fire.
Door, knocking on the door. Now, he was always good. He was standing right behind me. The lady invited us in. We had great conversation, and it was a learning by fire experience. But by age 19, the next summer when I went back to work in his agency, when I kind of really started my training career. We would, have our call nights. Back then there wasn't Google. There wasn't, where you purchase leads. The leads came for free. And if you wonder what I mean, it came in 2 books, the yellow pages and the white pages. Your leads were free. Right? It only cost, you time to go call them all. So you had your Monday night smile and dial, order pizza, and everyone would sit around, make phone calls. And all the other financial professionals were just like, how do you do it so easy? And I'm like, well, let's talk about it. So that's where my training career kind of kicked off. Over the years, I've pretty much worked in all aspects of the insurance industry, with the exception of Medicare and major medical health. At all levels. As I said, I started working in my stepfather's agency early on, even in the sales realm, worked as a regional administrative support over a 4-state area, was a producer in P&C agencies. I've been a operations manager for multi-site, multi-state agencies. I've been a agency owner twice. One is a scratch agency, one is an independent agency. Got the T-shirt, burned them both, and all the
So
way
you really haven't done much in this industry, is what you're saying?
Not a lot, just a little bit, and was even a regional sales leader as well. So I also sprinkled in that time. I had the real privilege of working as a consultant. I was sitting at my agency and. One of the, end of a kind of a busy day, and you kind of go home and you wonder, what have I done today? And kind of taking inventory, I found out I was spending more time helping all these other people grow their businesses and start businesses and take next steps and things like that, till I figured I need to monetize that. So I went and did that for a number of years, had the pleasure of not only working with insurance agents, IT companies, working with real estate organizations, working with AV people. I got to work in the oil and gas industry. I got to work in help build private schools, athletic departments. I got to do a lot of things. I wrote was published twice with 2 books in the meantime in that period. So just try and help people do that. So kind of, Chris, like you asked, how did I get here? When someone says, when God was delving stuff out, what did he delve you? So I said, my thing is, he just gave me this niche of helping find people where they are, figuring out what they want, where they want to go, and helping them get there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's kind of how I got here. Being in the insurance world, I'm like, this chasing all these people is getting kind of old. And then here comes this ICA thing. You mean I just get to help people every day? I just get to do, sign me up. So anyway, so that's how I started here back in 21.
Very cool.
And now, how do you leverage that multi-industry experience to help those people wanting to break into insurance from other backgrounds? How do you actually leverage that? Because to me, that'd be like a superpower, right? Because you have the industry knowledge,
helping them know where to start.
But you've experienced other industries, so you can actually speak other languages, right? And you can help bridge those gaps.
If I could add an add-on to that, is it obviously if the student is ready, the teacher will appear. Is it more of you trying to figure out if they're coachable, or is it, hey, you can enter into any relationship?
That's a good quote.
I don't know. I can't take credit for that.
You might have to take that one for the whole podcast today.
I got that
the
from.
The student is ready. The teacher will appear. I'm still stuck on that. Okay.
Oh yeah, that's a good one. You're correct. And what I would say about this is, if I could put it this way, everyone wants to go to heaven. No one wants to die to get there. And
another solid one.
The thing about it is, a lot of people want help, but they kind of want it their way. And one of the valuable lessons I learned in my consulting time frame is I could see the outcome, but they can't always see the outcome. And sometimes we want it more than they do, but you can only take them as far as they're willing to work to get there. So I'll help anybody to the degree that they want to dive into it. If they're just like all in, then we'll knock it out, and I'll provide you. We'll do step by step, get you there, give you 7 figures in your first year, in your first couple years, and have a great time. You want to kind of keep redoing things, and because I want to do it my way, then all right, well, call me when it doesn't work and we'll figure something else out.
Yeah.
Oh, absolutely. I'm cut from the same cloth, my friend. My output is greatly determined by your desire to actually be coached and wanting to put in equal effort.
Right. But to your point, Chris, is I guess, if I had a superpower, it's really getting on the level where those people are.
Yeah.
As opposed to, this is where I am, come find me, hope you can catch up. It's really, as low as, to whatever degree that is. And that's really the interesting piece about the classes, is because I can tell you, I've had classes that have had brand new people and people with masters of insurance all in the same class.
Yeah.
So how do you match and provide information on all those different levels in the same hour, right? And it just worked. And I will tell you about the classes and courses going forward. I have never had a person come through one of our courses, regardless of how educated they were, that didn't leave going, this was awesome. I didn't know a lot of this stuff.
It's also because you're involving an element of relationship. I'm not having to sit and watch just a video seminar. It's, hey, how do we look at this scenario? Let's role play. Let's work on that. I mean, I think about some of the most remarkable training in our industry was like the Pacesetters program, which offered real live coaching. And obviously that's since changed. I mean, I think it's still out there, but you guys are bringing to the table something that is completely comprehensive.
And I think an added perk benefit, if I can go it out, kind of throw this out there, and listeners don't hear this part, but is even after our classes are over, it doesn't shut off our support.
Yeah.
I just graduated a group just this morning from our commercial lines class. And I said, so just because class is over does not mean I'm not here to help you. And I'll have people, message me back, send me emails 3 months later, 6 months later, a year later, just, whatever. In fact, here's a funny thing. Here's a little gift on my desk. Y'all can see that, a little genie lamp, right? Because I have a particular agent that she's always, when they call that, all right, well, I'm like, just rub the lamp, genie will appear, we'll fix it. And
now, does that come from your general background, what makes you, or does that come from the growth coaches within the SIA model? Like, how did you become who you are to basically build that?
Well, good news, bad news is it's just me, right? This is the show. This is what you get, good or bad. Not everybody likes it, but it's just years of just doing a lot of things. And like I said, the little sprinkling that God said, this is what your little thing is being able to connect with people and help them find a next step. It might not get them from A to M, but it might, if I get them from A to B, my goal is to always leave people better than when I found them. And I think that's simply a personal conviction. And I don't think there is a program that you can participate in that and do that insincerely, that it's just the program that teaches that. I think you have to have a personal passion to really set out every day to make an impact and make a difference. And that's kind of where it is I come in, is I always, at the end of classes, I want to make sure, did you learn something today? What'd you learn? Tell me what your takeaway was. So it's not just like click the button, see you next time type scenario. So that's kind of where that came from. And, so unfortunately, it's just me. So,
so, and then going back to Chad's question, obviously with the wide variance of experiences that you had, can I ask what's your favorite group to work with? Is it a guy jumping into personal, commercial? Is it like, what gets you excited?
Someone who's excited.
Yeah.
Now, my role, what I primarily deal with from my seat is I primarily do the commercial, do our advanced commercial, and lead our sales program, which I will put a plug in. That's probably one of the best sales programs in the entire industry. How, again, kind of leading back to how we got here, there's not a such thing as failure as long as you learn from it. In every situation, you can learn what to do, and many times you learn what not to do. I have, done so, as my stepdad used to say, I've done enough of it long enough to tell you what not to go do, right? And have the, background to tell you about it. But so that's primarily my area, but still have somewhat of an input into with our, in working with our department manager, Jan Shikva, that, kind of what we're doing in some of the other programs and have an input. Quite sincerely, Chris, my biggest passion is someone who's excited and ready to go. And I want to get back to something that you said earlier, Chad, and that was people getting started, coming from different industries, that are what I'm going to do my own agency. One of the greatest hurdles that I think a lot of new people have coming into the industry is they see the tip of the icebergs of other success without the underwater side of that iceberg.
Yeah.
Would you say, David, that overall across your industry experience, when it comes to insurance and running a business in insurance, it is very much an iceberg where there's a lot underwater that you have to deal with compared to other industries? There may not be quite as much hiding under the surface. What is your thought process on all of that in startup? Because that's what I just took away from that.
That's what squashes most new people coming into this industry. Now, You all want, however you want to do this. But the thing about the statistics say of new people coming into this industry, I believe it is a 70% fail rate.
Yeah.
And
sounds about right.
I've watched people, I know people that said, well, I see all those people living the swanky life. They only get to work, and they're playing golf all the time. I'm going to start going insurance too, so I can do that same life and have the flexibility to go do and come and go as I want. You all know as well as I do, when you're starting an agency, there is no flexibility.
There's zero flexibility.
When you're starting a business.
Right, when you're starting a business, period.
Yeah. It's amazing. Would you say, is it the business side that gets people, or is it the production side? Because I think running the business is one piece, but I think a lot of people go, it's sales. It's easy.
They see that everybody needs the product, but they don't recognize the amount of red tape.
Is it the industry knowledge?
I guess it would be interesting to ask everybody their idea here, because what do we all think?
I'm going to go with choice number E and say it's their false expectations.
There you go.
Oh,
okay.
Wrapped up in all of those things,
because
probably.
I think the work expectations of the business itself is not there. I think that they have a misunderstanding from the need of the product, from the production side that you asked about, that, well, everyone needs it, so they'll just come line up at my door and get it. I think that's a false expectation. I think the industry knowledge thing, I think that is because they see, well, if they could do it, I could do it. I think there's that false expectation as well. So I think that's probably the greatest chink in their armor that puts most people in the tank faster than anything, is the false expectations of, to your point, Chad, of just starting a business in general. That it's kind of like, when you have a baby, you don't sleep for the first 2 years, right? I mean,
yes,
you just don't. I mean, they're up, they're down, you're not sleeping, everybody, there's no sleep for anybody for about a couple years. It's just, that's the way it is with business. And I think that small percentage of people that come in with a business mindset of understanding this is what it takes, has the appropriate metrics and expectations to put into it, those are the people that succeed.
Absolutely. So now, one of the distinctions you made is you predominantly spend most of your time on the commercial side, right?
Yes, sir.
And so we do know that through ICA, you also have a personal lines piece.
Yes.
So what is it that you would tell somebody that was crushing it in the personal lines, but is maybe timid about stepping over into the commercial side? Because that's actually something we see a lot with several of our member agents.
Yeah.
Is, they've got a great...
They have an apprehension to it.
They've got a great personal lines book. They've got... They're past 5, 7, 10 years being in business, so they're good at what they do, but they're there's some apprehension, good word, Chris, on stepping into the commercial lines. Do you see that, and how do you help, or what do you recommend people as far as stepping beyond that?
I would probably say, Chad, that might be, on a safe side, 75% of the people that I deal with. Of people that I've been doing personal lines, or I understand personal lines. I know I want to make more money, right? And there's only so many hours in a day that you can write so much personal lines business.
Right.
It just is. You can only write so much in a day, in a week, in a month. And at some point you kind of cap out because it becomes very linear. Unless you shift markets and you go straight to nothing but high value, high net worth folks.
Right.
But from your standard, mass market personal lines, I see probably 75% of our people that are trying to make that shift. It's like going to the, deep end of the swimming pool. And there is apprehension. They feel a degree of comfort. As Nick Saban said, is one of the biggest enemy to great is good. And they're good and comfortable with personal lines. It's my comfort zone. And in fact, on that same note, when we talk about what is the greatest hindrance to success, is fear is huge. That is right up there at the top. But interestingly enough, fear isn't our biggest enemy. Comfort is.
Mm-hmm.
Comfort is a greater enemy to our success than actual fear of taking on new stuff. So that's the battle that people deal with coming out of personal lines is, I know this, I can do this. I'm going to go do this and now kind of like start over, because personal lines and commercial lines are nothing the same. As my wife, who's also in the insurance industry, talks about, we were talking about this one night, and she said, it's just kind of like you don't feed the same food to an alligator that you feed to an elephant.
Mm-hmm.
They're both animals and they both eat, but they both eat way two different things. And that's the way commercial is to personal lines. Now, you can pick whichever animal it is that you want to apply that to, but that's of your own. So it is a vast difference because it's learning a whole new language. It's understanding that thing. And I think one of the things that allows us to have the success that we do is the patience and walking them through that and helping them, kind of hold their hand as they do it. Now, if I can go ahead and, give a, industry secret here, how to do that. One of the greatest detriments to people getting into the commercial lines is running to go out and be a generalist.
Yeah.
I'm here. They start waving their flag. Hey, I'm going to do commercial now. Everyone come line up at my door. I'm writing commercial. Come one, come all.
Then you get trucking, TNT factories, and trampoline parks.
Well, you get those things, and you wonder, I'm not having any success in anything.
Why can't I write
Right?
daycares?
Because I can't find, I can't find, markets for that. And the problem is when you're a generalist, you're looking for everything and you end up finding nothing.
Right.
I equate it to trying to go out and say, well, you know what? I'm just going to use this bigger net so I can catch a lot of stuff. Well, a bigger net has bigger holes in it.
Yeah. Well, I had an agent, I'll refrain from their name, but they came to us and said that they want to be able to write everything that comes their direction. I'm like, okay, show me agencies, show me another, show me Marsh, show me big agency shops that do that very same thing. And what you find is almost none. I don't think there's one out there because they all specialize in particular niches, and then they slowly grow beyond that niche.
I couldn't agree with you more, Chris. That's exactly the way it works.
Because then the other thing is expertise.
Here's an interesting note, though, to it. What I have found in working with agents that have chosen to just, all right, you say it, I'm going to do it, and they go get their niche market, and they go pursue it with everything they have. Now, I say that to say, when choosing a niche market, you got to make two choices. Number one is you got to choose your niche market. The second choice is you got to choose to dominate that niche market. I can't choose to try the niche market. See, every time
I can't
someone
dabble,
says,
I can't dip my toe in it.
yeah, every time you hear someone say, I tried, the next word that follows that is a but. Right? Trying is people's excuse for not doing.
Yeah, we actually had a conversation earlier today with amongst the team talking about we're not looking for people's effort. We're looking for commitment. What are you going to do? You make the commitment, you get in there and you get it done, right? So that niche market, right? It's like for me, I love manufacturing. I could go dominate that area, but it's because I have industry background, knowledge, and that's something that you just do it. So you're spot on, right? You can't just dabble. You got to, like me, I got a chunky dunk in there. I'm not going to.
Wait, what did you just say?
I'm a big guy. I'm the chunky dunk.
I've never heard that.
I'm going to steal that one from you. I'll give you credit for the first 3 times I use it. After that, it's mine, Chad.
Perfect. Royalty free.
The name of the episode now.
There we go. The Chunky Dunk episode. So there we go. And you're exactly right. So that's how it works, is you find that niche. But what I was going to say is the people that have said, all right, I'm going to get this plane off this runway and pursue it with passion, commitment, and persistence. When they leave their office to go out and talk with their niche market, it's like they've walked out of their office with flypaper on. Because they've moved, they're moving with excellence and intentionality in their environments and in their area. It attracts people from everywhere.
Yeah.
They end up writing more business than they ever would have trying to be a generalist.
Right.
Because people will come to them and see them. They're out in the community marketing to their niche, and they say, I know you do this. Any chance you know someone who could help me, or could you maybe look? Sure, I'll be happy to look at it.
Yeah. When you look at that, it's, I mean, we have what we call the 4 precepts here, but it's the right thing for the right reason. Okay, if I'm jumping into a new territory, I want to become a good steward of all of that. That is that niche, because I'm going to live, breathe, sleep, eat, do that. So that way, when I go to a business owner within that niche, I'm going to be their best option. It's like, oh, well, this group has this group has this. No, you don't understand. This is all I focus on. I live, sleep this. I've already written 5 of the people that that are in your circle. So if you want me, this is what it costs. This is what it is. And know that I'm not BSing you.
100%.
It's in their best interest. It's in your best interest. And you do the client a service. If all you do, not to speak ill will towards generalists, but it's much harder to bring that same level of value and intensity that a niche person brings. And that's often where you see business taken away from the general market, is by a niche person.
So how does somebody that is new or that is diving into commercial identify a right niche for them?
Well, that's a great question, Jessica. And first of all, we help you with that in our comprehensive commercial lines class in
There we go.
Session 2.
Okay.
So that's one of the things that we walk through in our introduction to writing small business. Have a class just for that, about what that process looks like, and walk you through that. But to answer your question, it starts with, what are you interested in? What do you have a background in? What is it that you have that you're passionate about? Because those things that, to, like you said, Chad, that, manufacturing, manufacturing, right?
Mm-hmm.
So it's easy for you to go do that. See, what's not a niche is a couple things. Number one, for example, I've always wanted to know how do you grow a great lawn? I've always asked people, and no one ever can tell me. So I've decided I'm going to grow summergrass. For those of you that don't know what summergrass is, it's some of this and some of that. Right? And so, because no one can ever say, well, you fertilize it here and you use this there, and then you do that, and then you aerate something or other. And then my biggest strategy is, how low can I put my mower bed down and just whack it down so it all looks green?
There you go.
Right? People come by, the lines are all, geometrically perfect. And people, you've got a beautiful lawn. Why, thank you very much. I just, I'm good at scalping the lawn, right? Now, if I wanted to go to a lawn maintenance company, that's a very short conversation. I'm going to walk in and say, so how low do you cut your mowers? That conversation's over at that point, because that's as far as I know to go. That's not a good niche.
Yeah.
Another aspect that's not a good niche is, what is the carrier's top 10 list? That's not a good niche, because that's going to change in a month, 2 months. And by the time you market towards those niches, they change again. And that target is always moving. And another example that is not a niche is, well, I heard this pays well. I had a student, and he said, we asked him what is his niche. He said, I want to go into trucking. Well, what do you know about trucking?
Okay.
Not a thing. I drove some in the military, but that's all I know. Well, 2 weeks later, said, how's the niche going? Well, I decided not to do that because it was too hard. Well, what are we going to do now? Going to do hotels. Well, what do you know about hotels? Know nothing about hotels, but I hear it pays well.
How many people do you know that start their niche in trucking?
Or hotels?
Intentionally.
None.
Yeah.
None.
It's a much harder market, and you need sizable accounts. And then we had a situation where, a trucking firm started up and was out of business the next week. And guess who's responsible for that premium pay?
Yeah.
You as the agent are.
Yeah. Now, I do want to say, and turn around and say on the other side, is your niche is what it is. Regardless of how hard that market is, how soft the market is, if there's availability or not. If it's an E&S market, then God bless you. Go write it. They still have to be insured just like everybody else. If that's what you know, that's what your experience is, don't shy away from it because, oh, it's hard. No, they still have to have the coverage too.
To me, if anything, that would actually be a better niche. If I'm looking at a niche, I'm looking at what am I curious about? What do I have knowledge around? And what has the highest barrier to entry? Yes, the bar is higher for me, but at newsflash, the bar is higher for everybody else coming in. And that's going to detract 90% of the tire kickers out there that want to come in and play in a market. Let me have that high barrier to entry. I think that takes a level
of confidence, though, too, right? Like your get it done ability, because
get it done ability.
They're not even going to be able to get past.
We know I chunky dunk into everything, so I am solid on my get it done ability. You bring up great points right on the niche, right?
Yeah.
It's go with what you know, be willing to put in the work, get in 100%, and make it happen, right? Regardless of whether it's a difficult market, which to me is actually a positive.
Absolutely.
Because you're providing a need. You're stepping into something.
Yeah. Because anybody can go write that small business in the strip center that's doing nails, right?
Absolutely. And to follow up with you real quick, Chris, not to interrupt you, but you made the excellent point that in finding your niche, you're going to be the special forces, the Navy SEALs of that niche, to where you know their business better than they do. And you know the carrier's product better than the carrier does.
And if the carrier moves out of that marketplace, you better know that carrier is moving out, which carriers are moving in. And that way you can advocate for your client. I do want to change pages because I was actually staring at our producer over there because he came to me a couple weeks ago and it's like, hey, I need to learn more about the insurance so I could add value. And I'm like, I gave him a CIC book and I'm like, here you go. This is like the master's level. I really don't know the best way to tell him other than some of us fell into the industry. Some of us grew up in the family aspect of it. But if I was to take somebody who is really does, and he does have an interest into it, what direction should I send him other than signing him up for ICA? But
are you talking about how to go out and add value to his people in the marketplace?
I think helping him understand. I wish he had a mic, so that way we need to get you a mic over there. You can hear him laughing in the background. But like just giving him direction as how to best understand the nuance in the niche. Kind of going back to your iceberg analogy. But where would you send somebody who's green?
Well, first of all, we've got I have heard some bad advice that is said,
well, don't give that.
Go work in the industry for 3-4 weeks and then so you can figure it out. Who has time for that? Right? Yeah. Sorry, I'll be back in a few weeks. I'm going to go work over here. No. Best way to do it, quite honestly, is simply Chat GPT or AI. Is what is your niche? And then you can literally put in what are the pain points of owning A. And every person that I've had in a class that has come out of a different field, and I put that field in, they're like, yep, you nailed it. It is that, it's that, it's that, it's that. And it'll tell it. You can even drill down more specifically in that. And then on top of that, you can say, what are the insurance needs for blank? And it will boop, 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 and nail it all right there. So that gives you a great frame standpoint to go out and say, I need to know about this. So when you walk into your niche market, you can say, so tell me a little bit about your staffing. Tell me how you handle your food purchasing. Tell me how your hiring goes. Do you order MVRs? What do you do? What's your biggest pain point? How do you handle this specific component? How do you deal with competition? Or how do you deal with preservation of your clients? Whatever the pain points are within that industry, you know what they are. And then as you continue to go visit with your different people in your industry, in that niche, you learn their answers. You're learning just like AI does, and you're growing in your knowledge. So that's the first place is learning about a niche, and before our time runs out, one of the biggest things that I would say that I think is could be one of the most helpful things in people going out to succeed in the commercial world. Stop trying to sell something.
There you go.
Go find people to help. I told this to a guy one time in our sales class. I said, your homework for between now and when we meet, day after tomorrow, I said, you go help 2 people today. Go help 2 people today. Oh, you mean like go write their car insurance? No, just go help 2 people. Go find a lady that, an elderly lady that you can help her out with her groceries at the grocery store. You see a guy loading wood at Home Depot. Go help him load it. Just go help 2 people. Because if you want to have a successful career, if you'll go ask these 3 questions multiple times a day, you will make more money than you ever could shake a stick at. Those 3 questions are this: who are you? What do you do? And how can I help you?
Yes. And it's a genuine, how can I help you?
Yeah.
Right. And so it's a little premature. So I haven't asked, but have you read the book, The Go Giver? Or there's the follow-up, Go Giver, Sell More?
Not yet, but I'll put it on my list.
All right, check it out. Because it's around that entire premise, right? It's you can do more by creating value for others, right?
Absolutely.
And when you genuinely are concerned with making other people's lives better, creating value for other people, you don't have to worry about the rest of the stuff because it just
follows.
takes care of itself.
It is a law of nature.
Yeah.
It is. You find it there in our Bible. I know Jim Rohn has talked about it many times. It's a law of nature, kind of like gravity. You don't have to believe in it, but it's going to happen regardless, right? And that is, if you help enough people get what they want, you in turn will be rewarded beyond your wildest dreams.
Absolutely.
And on top of that, what people don't realize, and this is one of the biggest things I see even in networking, if you will, it's giving that primes the pump to receive. Every person in every environment I've ever walked into, from any type of networking, however big or small, that walks in doing this, can I write yours? Can you give me? Fails immediately. The people that walk in, how can I help you? Who do you need to know? And when we ask those 3 questions, who are you? What do you do? And how can I help you? Sometimes the how can I help you is simply who do you need to be connected with? Because when you are working in your niche market, maybe you know a vendor that they need to be in touch with. Maybe you have a different service that you can connect them to. Maybe it's simply just being that crossroads. One of the things that people always used to say, when I had one of my agencies, is they'd say, go call David because he knows a guy. And I did. I was at the crossroads of everything. I mean, just because I would want to go help people. How can I help you? What do you do? Who are you? And I just know people, right? And so that's the biggest thing I would say. When you go and you try and chase money, when you squeeze it so tight that I'm chasing sales, yeah, you'll make some. But when you focus on how many people can I help today in some way, you'll write more business than you ever thought was imaginable.
Yeah, I resonate with even my success with a lot of that, because when I first got in this industry, I didn't know anything. I was an aircraft maintenance mechanic that got out and joined the family business. And I went to some leaders at the time and say, hey, I got this member that has these questions. What do I do? And they would just look at me and go, well, welcome to the independent world. We have all these options. And I'm like, that's not good enough. Like, I need to give these people a path that they can at least go down. And just reckless abandonment on my part, I would go out and find the people that had the answers and ask them. And so a lot of what I was doing was just connecting people, getting them the answers to say, look, I may not have the answers, but I bet you I can go find those answers. So let me go work for you to help get that answer, so that way you can serve your business, serve your clients, serve your family.
Absolutely.
Well, David, thanks so much for your time. Before we wrap up, we do have a tradition around here where we like to finish with, what is a quote? We can't steal anything from today. There have been some good quotes from today. Nothing stolen from today, but like, what's a quote, book, movies? What's just something that's inspired you recently that you'd want to share with?
I have answers for those, but if I could take 1 second and add one more thought. The last thing that I kind of want to throw in there, that for for business owners of all shapes and sizes, especially the larger they get. I have never gone into any business of any kind that grew and doubled their size or anything that focused on their marketing, that focused on their budget, that focused on their P&Ls. Every successful business that I ever had the chance and opportunity to partner with to grow, double their size, and increase their productivity, it started with growing the leader.
Yeah.
It starts growing with the growth of the person who sits at the top, because as John Maxwell writes in his 21 Laws of Irrefutable Leadership, is the law of the lid. And and I've seen too many agency owners across the spectrum that just keeps whipping the production staff, do more, do more, do more. And while they sit there and just wait for it to come in. If they want their staff to grow, they have to grow. And for agency owners out there, if you want to grow your business, if you want to grow your agency, I would challenge you to focus on how are you growing? How have you grown from this time last year? How do you plan to grow as a leader, as a business owner, about investing in your agency and their staff for the year to come? So I just want to make sure and get that point out there. So to answer your question, books, movies, and quotes, right?
Or one of most impactful.
You can't use the Bible because I see it sitting right behind you. But I mean, you
that
can. But
there we go.
Yeah, you could put your favorite verse if that's.
Well, I've got many of them. I know the plans I have for you to prosper, for hope and a future, to prosper, not harm, is one of my favorites. But and I could go on for a bunch more, but
we can have a Bible study on it.
There we go. Let's do it. I'm all about it. A couple other books that that I would say are must reads is, number one, the biggest one that people can do if you want to start going out commercial. It is this all-time classic, Dale Carnegie's How to Win Friends and Influence People.
Yeah.
Yes.
You should read this over and over and over again. This will contribute to your success more than anything.
That was my son, his fifth grade, welcome fifth grade book from Dad was
really
seriously.
Fifth grade. That's man.
I think I was reading Harry Potter.
I know it was like that's a high level.
And I made him listen to it in the truck. We'd listen on Audible.
Yeah. Let's see. Another book is Andy Andrews. I love the speaker and author Andy Andrews. I don't know if you've ever heard of him or not. If you haven't, must listen, a must read. He used to be a comedian before he started speaking. He calls himself the noticer. He just notices things. And I would he writes he's very much an entertainer. So that's cool. You can YouTube him and it's a laugh. But one of the best things that he wrote was one of his first manuscripts. And it's called The 7 Decisions. And it is one of the best choices. He was left parentless. Both parents had died by the time he was 18 or 19 years old, became homeless, lived under a pier in Mobile, Orange Beach, Alabama, homeless. And the only thing that he could do was a library card was free. So he started reading biographies. And in reading all these biographies, he found that there were these 7 common decisions amongst all the different great people that he did. So another one that I have on my list is Leadership Secrets of Nick Saban. Now,
all right.
All teams aside and our favorites, I'm not I'm not an Alabama fan at all. So let's just get that out there. I think though,
I noticed the Cowboy
of this
star. Era. You said, yes. I'm sorry, repeat that.
I said, I think Nick Saban is the John Wooden of this era, where John Wooden, the basketball coach, all his leadership principles and everything, that his leadership pyramid and everything. I think Nick Saban has created, just is a master in creating a winning culture. So I really like a lot of things that he does and says. Movies, I will always watch Moneyball every time it's on.
Yeah.
Yep.
I love the fact that he had a method. He had, this is my way, sink or swim. This is how it's going to roll. Love that movie. Favorite Christmas movie, Jessica, is going to be Christmas Story. So I get that in. Christmas Story is my favorite there. My favorite quote is, "It's not what you want that counts, but what you're willing to do to get it."
Love it.
He gave us one of each.
There
we go.
Yeah.
That was
Jessica,
good.
Jessica, you get to follow that.
Yeah.
I feel like David might have covered it for all of us today. But currently just started a book that I'm looking at right now. It's called Shaping a Winning Team. By Paul, and sorry, Paul, if you're out there listening to this podcast, I'm sure you are. Fayad, I think that's how you say his last name, Fayad. But it's reflective of, thank you. Okay, do you know the book?
I've heard of it.
Have you read it?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. It's reflective of where I'm at on the personal development side as well. So there we go.
All right. And we'll let that slide because we know that was not the book that you were going to cover earlier.
Okay, I was going to cover a more interesting book, but I'm also looking at this book too. Stay tuned. I'll actually, if you are a book reader out there, we'll talk interesting books next episode.
Awesome.
I would say I just finished Beyond the Hammer. It was actually recommended to me by Chad. So I'm going to mess up his last name, but it's Brian Gottlieb. This came close to it. Yeah.
That works for me.
And it's a very good leadership and culture. And David, you really spoke about growing the leader constant. I think a true definition of a leader is by the other leaders that they create, and that means they have to constantly be learning. So I resonate with that for sure. What about you, Chad?
Yeah. So for me, I'm actually getting ready to start one of those just recommended to me. It's called The Mom Test by Rob Fitzpatrick. And it's actually...
what are you testing?
So it's actually, it's really cool. It's a book on how to actually ask better questions and conduct better quasi interviews to get validation around ideas, but do it in a way that limits the ability to get biased feedback, right?
Oh, wow.
So for example, rather than asking, so tell me how you feel about something, right? Because the moment we start going down that path, we're getting biased. It would be, explain to me what the cost of this is, right? Or what are you doing to mitigate this? So it's just another way of changing the way you ask questions.
It's the most Chad book I've ever heard of.
So stay tuned. I'll let you know how it goes. It's just a recommendation.
That's one of Andy Andrews' principles. He talks about, I think he said, ask a better question, get a better answer.
Exactly.
That's good.
So
I am picking up that book, by the way.
There we go. It's a good one.
Tidbits.
He's got a whole lot of the Noticer Returns, Time Traveler. Yeah. He's written children's books. Anyway, you'll love it.
I may start with the children's book.
There you go. I'm kidding. That's all right.
Awesome. Well, David, thanks so much for joining us. It's been an absolute pleasure having you on.
Thank you so much, Chad, Chris, Jessica.
Absolutely.
And thank you to everybody that's tuned in for another episode of Agency Ascend. Thanks for joining us. And until next time, onward and upward.